I was actually trying to condense the information we had in our previous style. So, here we go. How should I go about this? I wonder. I would just go ahead and answer the guys' questions one by one, whatever they're curious about.
Right.
Something like that. And, what can we?
Do we have a hand?
We have a hand. Let me check the settings right now. I see that the chats are all red for the guys right now.
I think Misha muted everyone over there.
Yeah, I muted everyone. Yeah. There you go. Go to Misha. Come on, someone raise your hand. Are they even going to be here? So you didn't cut off their microphone. Oh, I see. We have hands. Can the red microphones raise their hands too? Yeah, everyone can raise their hands. All right, there you go. Alexander Kamalak was first, so I need Lo to speak. Let's go. Hello, Alexander. Alexander, if you wanted to ask something, go ahead and turn it on.
Yeah, hello. I wanted to ask about the bots and crafting. I wanted to clarify a detail. There's a bot that runs on time, and there's a bot that runs on claims. Lately, I've only been getting comments that are time-based. And I wanted to clarify in terms of the installation period it's set specifically. So, what's the claim period for the storage itself? How long does it take to build up? I need to set the time on the Autobot exactly as it gives it to me. For example, the storage itself and the claim period, in general, should match, or at least be close, within a few minutes if it gives any parameters. There you go. So, I have this question, if you could elaborate a bit more. Thank you.
I can give a quick overview about the bots, just to make it clear. So, we have two types of bots. The first bot, it's based on the number of claims. So, it fired off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it stopped. So, the second parameter is durability. So, that's the first parameter. The second parameter is when it breaks. And it breaks based on the time it's been running. So, that's the first bot based on the number of claims. The second bot is time-based. So, if you have a bot that runs for 5 hours, you turn it on and it works for 5 hours. You can have it claim every minute. I don't know. It will claim every minute for 6 hours, then it will stop. So, to sum it all up, the first bot is more for people who make fewer transactions during the day. For example, I do 10 transactions in a day. I basically just need the common bot to manage my funds. There are people who do 20 transactions, and then there are those who do 50 transactions, for example. For them, the time-based bot works better. If you have a high-powered drill, you turn it on for 3 hours, and you're getting claims every 15 to 20 minutes. So, this bot running for 3 hours can handle quite a few transactions in that time.
I think there are still questions about the bot. By the way, let's dive into this topic right away. By the way, originally, what we now call bots, we had planned to name them something else. We're in development, closer to the patch implementation, it was decided to call them smart collectors, smart claimers. And I suggest that, so that we don't get confused in the future, we call them claimants or smart claimants. That is, remove these bots, harvester bots, and it will be easier for all of us in the future. So, we're trying to call it a smart gatherer or a smart claimer now. So let's fully explore this topic, because I know a lot of people are especially confused about the difference between time and, how should I put it, quantity. Sasha, can you explain this in more detail? So, let's break it down with an example, like the last one someone shared. We have a claimer gatherer that shows in as 12 sysics and 15 melons. It works for 12 hours. So you start it, and it runs for 12 hours. During those 12 hours, it claims at whatever interval you set. Right now, the minimum interval you can set is 15 minutes, which is a quarter of an hour. So, at the moment, the minimum setting is a quarter of an hour. If you have a smart claimer, that works for 12.5 hours, and let's say it runs for 15 days after you start it. It will be claiming for 12.5 hours at the set interval, say 15 minutes. After those 12.5 hours are up, it will stop, and you'll need to restart it, right? So, this claimer will live for, let's say, 15 days. How much is written in the NFT itself?
15 working days.
Can the smart collector work longer than 15 days? Live longer than 15 days? Well, not this one.
No, it's not quite like that. Basically, if you don't start it right away, those 12.5 hours of work will be deducted from the 15 days. And it will have 14 days and 11.5 hours of work left. And it will hang like that. Its lifespan will be until you restart it. That's how it works right now.
Yeah, working. How many times have you restarted it?
If I have a smart collector that works for 12.5 hours, maybe we should slightly rename the public title to introduce lifetime to make it a bit clearer, because we have the same concepts in two different bots, which can be a bit confusing. Let's say we have a collector that works for 12.5 hours, and it has intervals of 15 days. If we set the collection to once every 24 hours, then it will collect every 24 hours for all 15 days, and you won't need to restart it. But it will never collect because the interval, that is, its operating period is based on the specified time parameter. So if I set it to collect every 24 hours, it simply won't make it to the next claim. And if I set it to once every 12 hours, it will make one claim within those 12.5 hours and will require a restart for the next one. Right.
For you, conditionally, if you have few transactions, it is profitable for you to take on hallmarks. If you have a lot of transactions, it's better for you to go for temporary ones. And that's the whole story. There's no need to complicate things here. There are 3 parameters: the number of claims, working time, and, accordingly, lifespan. There aren't really any other parameters for the auto collectors here. The frequency, so you set it yourself however you like.
So we have the second type of collectors, which is quantity-based. Let's say 15 claims and 15 days. So I'm setting the claim to every 12 hours. So here's a question then. So it will make those 15 claims with a 12-hour interval, and you won't need to restart it for 7 days. Right. So it will work automatically for 7 days. So basically, you could just go on vacation. Cool. This seems pretty clear. Guys, I'm kind of having this dialogue to break it down, like I don't know it myself. If you have any questions, raise your hand or just ask. Let's go through this point until the end so that everyone understands. Yevgeny, I'm about to start you up. Hello, go ahead. Go ahead, Yevgeny.
Testing. Hello.
Lahe.
I'm just setting up the microphone right now. Sound good, right?
Well, you can turn it up a bit.
How about this? Hello, hello.
That's interesting, right? Are you?
We talked about it several times in the chat today. I just don't know how to read. Right now, we're diving into the topic of intervals. All in all, for most, let's say, active users, a 15-minute interval within the first hour just isn't enough. So we either need a minute-by-minute interval or the ability to manually enter our own interval, or at least a 5-minute one. Either the time to fill up 100% of the warehouse to choose from either the main one or the referral one.
You know, Sasha, I'm actually going to indeed share my thought now, and then let's continue. So here's the situation. When we launched the ecosystem in our miner, most users, like 99%, focused solely on the drill, completely ignoring the warehouse in their upgrades. In fact, this was quite surprising. What was generally wrong? Yeah, you can definitely lean more towards the drill to collect more often. But we need to understand that the requirement to upgrade the warehouse is going to affect all of us sooner or later. There will be features that will require the warehouse to be upgraded to a certain level. There will be some interaction with you if you have a big lead. See, in this situation, you've gone way ahead with the drill without upgrading the warehouse, and now you're facing the issue. That 15 minutes just isn't enough. That doesn't mean we won't reduce the interval. Right now, Sasha will answer that question about whether we'll reduce it or not. Think, yeah, that's valid, we can do that. But what I really wanted to say is that a lot of users missed this point, or rather, they just brushed it off. The thing is, you need to upgrade the warehouse, and guys, it really needs to be done. Sasha, please add to that.
I'll say it now. So this question was a bit less about the minimum interval and more about the settings, basically. For a person whose warehouse fills up in, say, 1 hour and 55 minutes, they have to make a choice. Set it for 2 hours or an hour and 45, and it's sad for him to lose like 10 minutes. That was about this question.
Sasha, please add something about the intervals.
Well, about the intervals, like, Misha, if you're recording, just make sure to note this moment. I think it won't be hard to do. We're just going to release a fix with, let's say, a more frequent interval. Well, I mean for the choice.
Well, basically, yeah. I think, yeah, a 5-minute step would be perfect. I don't know, maybe right now. Yep.
It's enough to have a 5-minute interval for the first 2 hours. You don't have to do a 5-minute interval until 12 o'clock. So make the minimum 15 minutes, then the step, idea.
It's clear, basically. Well, we need to think about it. Maybe we'll have to tweak the design a bit, because I think the slider won't be very convenient with such a spread. Maybe we'll start reworking the design a bit, and then, if needed, we'll refine it. I think so.
So are there any more questions about the Autobots? About the claimers?
Smart claimers.
Well, any really. The functionality is more or less clear. There the lecturer raised hand.
Yeah, I let him talk and see what he might say. Lecturer, hello?
Turn on mic. The question about epics and legendaries. Hey everyone, good evening. Can you hear me? Feel free to ask questions.
The question is, if we're going to use epics and legendaries, then what's the point of them? If I got it right, you already broke down the Gamonkeys and Ankamonkeys there. They're there for over 60 days. So how are we supposed to use them? Why do we need them?
So epics. A top epic gives a 30% discount on transactions. First of all, a top epic.
I haven't seen anything like it. I've seen a team.
Well, maybe it's in the top. Well, I probably haven't seen a top one. The top one gives a 30% discount. That is, according to banal arithmetic, if we pay, say, $1, yes, then the output will be 70 cents. And Autobo. This is the first mechanic that gives such a discount. We were planning to give similar discounts on jewelry as well. So overall, if you see that something seems a bit low, it doesn't mean that's the final deal. We're still planning to develop the ecosystem as we go. And if we gave a little less somewhere, it doesn't mean that's the final story. We still plan to develop the ecosystem in the process. And if we gave a little less somewhere, it doesn't mean that's the final deal.
I'm just saying that the bot is expensive and it only serves one network.
So accordingly,
But that's not quite right.
it's kind of like, let's say, epics are probably for those who, well, there are different kinds of people, right? I mean, you choose whether you want to ride a Harley Davidson or a Jawa. That's just how it is. That's a whole different thing. It depends on the person.
That's a different thing.
Well, it depends on the person. That's a whole different thing. So with the epics, it's a simple story. First, they offer a discount. Second, they last a long time. Third, there are people who got their epics pretty cheap on the market, and they can afford it. Some people get it for free. Something like that, yeah. Some people get it per SGB in different ways. So that's the second point. They last a long time. The third point is for people who really make a lot of claims. So this is a more or less suitable option. As for the legendaries, legendaries are unseen because they don't exist. They will collect from all networks, likely crafted from Autobots, not NFTs. Legendary bots are saved for the second iteration, and they're going to be collecting multi-chain. But it's going to be something like a super hefty thing that really won't be accessible to everyone. But they'll be collecting from all networks. And most likely, they won't be crafted from NFTs, but from Autobots. I mean from smart claimers. But that's more like later on, because
We can make a legendary from uncommons and all those rares.
well, sort of, yeah, we thought. We were thinking about that. No, in the final version. We had this idea that maybe we'll make legendaries crafted from Autobots to start reducing their population too.
Well, then it's more or less clear.
As for discounts, there will be more items that you can use to boost the discounts and make it more interesting. Because there were questions about the fact that, like, a series of 100 transactions is already expensive.
Well, they're still around.
Well, that's kind of a different story. We'll get to that, I think, as we go along.
So will these rings show up? What are these rings? Are you not going to share a little later?
Well, that's also a bit like, again, a question that will come up as we go along. If there are no questions on bots, we can move on to the next topic. Or if anyone has,
No, let's finish this up here. Plus, I saw that Ed had a question. Here, look, guys. Yeah, you might have noticed that we still have a lot of free slots in our inventory. Let me remind you that the ecosystem is designed for the long term. The economic cycle will probably be fully revealed within about 8 months, when we will already have clans, construction, and land. I won't get ahead of myself here. The timelines might change and could take a bit longer. We're moving towards a full-fledged Web3 economic strategy where users will be able to monetize their time. And I wanted to add something about the balance. Look, the Autobots, they don't last long. And again, the prices. You see, right now we're said by the community, not us. We put it in the mystery box with a pretty good chance. So getting one in a week is rare, but I won't go into details. It's absolutely possible to get a smart claimer, and there's a 125% chance of getting an auto claimer. Here, I wanted to talk about the balances. They're not final. There is a possibility that the claimers will work longer in future patches. Again, I can't promise this, but for now we are watching en masse. We couldn't run it through our team to really understand how it would work over time and with a lot of people. As much as we could, we tested it, and we tested it for a long time. As you noticed, we rolled out the feature a month later than we originally planned. Yeah, but we still don't have enough data. We need to gather analytics. We need to collect data, see what drops, how it's used, and how it works. And after that, we'll balance things out. Maybe some bots will last longer. Bots, again, I'm starting to. Some smart claimers might last longer. Perhaps they will give a bigger discount, so let's just take our time. Don't rush to sell or buy them. Be patient and just try to get one out of the box for yourself. Again, about the drop rate over the week, I mentioned it at level 7 achievements, meaning I have a level 7 achievement system, and I get one claimer for every 7 boxes. So I'll repeat, the balance is not final. There's a chance that the lifespan or the number of claimers or the time interval will change. So Ed, do you have any more questions? I saw someone raise their hand.
I have a question. I kind of already jumped ahead with my question about the legendaries, but I have another question about karma. I don't know if anyone else wants to ask about claimers, but I wanted to know how karma will work. What will cause negative karma? When will it be active? And will there be any benefits for it? Is it possible to somehow turn negative karma back into positive?
Let me tell you a bit more. So, if anyone has any questions about smart claimers, raise your hand. Overall, I think we've covered this pretty thoroughly with Yevgeny, and then we'll move on to karma. Yevgeny, you can go ahead. I mentioned it, but I didn't quite catch that. Yevgeny, your mic is off.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Yeah, hello. About the possibility of claiming when the warehouse is 100% full. Is it really possible to implement this technically? Or are you not planning to do that?
We initially wanted to do it that way, but when working with blockchain, there are limitations that, let's say, we have to work around. And that's why we did it this way. Originally, we wanted to do it that way, but we just don't have the capacity. We need to set up our own oracle to track the storage capacity of each user. That's a huge amount of resources, and we just don't have that. And that's why we had to take a simplified approach, where we just give out the slider, like we set it somewhere.
Got it. Just look, here's the thing. Let's say I have a 50th warehouse and a 100th drill. I have a warehouse. That fills up in 43 minutes. So there's no point in upgrading my warehouse to 51 or 52. Because I won't get 43 minutes, but rather 42 and a half, you know? I mean, I'm not gaining anything from upgrading the warehouse to a super high level, at least not at this stage of the project. Or if you say there will be some other perks for the warehouse, then sure. But for now, it's a simple story. If you don't see the point in upgrading something, then You definitely shouldn't upgrade it.
I wouldn't upgrade. So here's the deal. With each content patch that comes out, there will naturally be a rethinking of some things like drills and warehouses. At some point, there might be some allowances and new game side projects will pop up, which will have certain requirements to get in, like being first, second, third, or even 10th. New items will be added to old slots, like a new drill or cloak, but will those items stick around? Well, as it were, after we implement crafting in the full volume in which we want, that is, we implement all the elements of crafting. Of course, unique collections of items will appear that can, for example, only be crafted with the help of crafting, having collected a certain, so to speak, set from which it is crafted. So, I think there will be cloaks too. That is, the cloaks are essentially for people who mine Spistronic. So, it's a unique item that would be given as an achievement for a certain blockchain.
How much was the most expensive cloak sold for? Was it $800 or did someone buy it on the marketplace?
I'm not sure about the 800.
Well, something like that. I may be wrong with the numbers, but yes, cloaks are currently strong and unique items. But in the future, in the back section, there will be more items that can be crafted and equipped. We're really moving towards getting items not from chests or collection sales, but making collections more unique and exclusive so that the whole economy is built on user-created items. It's a big, really big mechanic, and we're working on it. Exclusive so that the entire economy is built on user-created items. This is a big, very big mechanic. We work on it. That is, the first iteration is complete. We can create smart claimers. And now we're slowly going to start filling this opportunity in the future along with professions. If they appear and we introduce syndicates or clans, then it will be possible to do so through a downvote. That is, it will be possible for the community to submit a review, the introduction of new features, items, networks, miners. So in the future, the community will have a big say in what gets introduced into our ecosystem. Like someone might even put it to a vote saying, hey guys, we want to be able to make new cloaks. We want new cloaks with these specific features. And if a majority of users vote for it, we'll definitely consider adding those things. So it could even come down to someone putting it to a vote like, hey guys, we want to be able to make new cloaks. We want new cloaks with these parameters. And if a majority of users vote for it, we'll definitely introduce those things.
Oleg is going to promise you guys some cloaks. Let's skip the ads. Let's go through the routine stuff first and then...
Can I clarify something with you? You keep talking about leveling up the warehouse, right? But there's a way, right? NFTs, we all know they add pixels, right? Is there going to be a difference? So, do you mean we need to level up the warehouse, or are you talking about the storage itself?
Well, I think it's pretty much the same thing right now, the warehouse and the storage.
But I get it, yeah. But, for example, if I have, say, 10 or 20 pixels in storage, I don't need to level up the actual warehouse, right? I don't need to upgrade it using pixels.
I got the question. Yeah. There will be events or items that will require a certain level of the warehouse to use them or to participate in those events. So the actual number that represents the leveling up of your warehouse in the future will matter and have an impact on something.
Sounds mysterious.
Well, we can't just jump 6 months ahead right away. There's a product plan and there's a roadmap. We're moving on it step by step.
That's where you put your pixels. You level it up for convenience. So at the moment, that's how it's set up. So there's no hidden meaning to it. So, for example, I can say in terms of my account, there's no real difference for me between the drill and the warehouse. So for me, claiming is every 4 hours. Let's say it was as comfortable as it could be, considering how busy I am. I just didn't have time to get distracted as often. For me, 4 hours is okay. Now with the release of smart claimers, I'm going to buy some more serious NFTs on the market for drilling, and I'll stop leveling up the warehouse. Because I can afford to claim like that now, but get more in return. So, for my type of gameplay, this mechanic is pretty much the best fit. By the way, the T circle is getting raised. Let me give it a shot now. So, for my type of gameplay, this mechanic is pretty much the best fit. There the T circle is raising. Let me give it to you now. Nortite, Nortite, Nortite. Regarding oligopoly or monopoly, about DAOs, there's also cartel collusion. Currently, we're seeing cartel collusion happening in various sectors. We're aiming to create the economy in a way that, firstly, everyone can integrate into it, and secondly, it maximally aims towards noting everyone has their own sense of fairness, but ultimately, we can't limit the free market. We can't say, okay, you can have a maximum of 30 NFTs, and you, well, fine, you can have 40, but everyone else gets 20. That makes no sense. Thus, it's up to each person who sees potential and buys. Before entering the market, understand the economic processes within the ecosystem, grasp economic mechanisms, then decide on buying or selling. Again, this is a conditional concept we emphasize right away. Everyone has their own justice, but one way or another. And here, we can't limit the free market, right? Like, we can't say, okay, you can have a maximum of 30 NFTs, and you, well, fine, you can have 40, but everyone else gets 20. That just doesn't make sense. So, it's really up to each person, whoever sees the potential and buys up the market. But before diving into the market, you really need to understand the economic processes within the ecosystem. Grasp all the mechanisms that drive the economy, and only then make decisions about buying or selling. Everyone chooses for themselves how to invest in this. So, this is a complicated question. It almost seems like it doesn't even have an answer. If, in the world or in a specific country, maybe in a certain network or even in a particular game, you could take it as a basis, as an example, and try to do something similar. But everyone builds as they can, as they see fit. In terms of math, we're doing pretty well, but at least we're trying. Good question. This card was from the inflow collection. So we had this situation with the inflows who didn't like the idea of the Ethereum warehouse. So we decided to run a promotion. I think we gave out named items for 1,000 Ethereals. So it just so happened that this card ended up in a chest that started getting opened. Well, we figured out that the bots, those bots that didn't open the chests with the cloaks, we noticed that because it was like a clear sign to people that, apparently, the bots are reading the blockchain, you know? Some of them, let's say, see the changes that are happening there. We made this card just as a meme for those who spent money on this, and we returned that money. The card just became a common item, like a unique one, because it's the only common item in Sunbird that gives a quantitative boost. Such a cool thing to give a boost to a friend or a neighbor, someone who really likes it. As for the question of whether we can change, at the moment we can. But then when we release the ecosystem we want, of course, to fully decentralize it all completely and essentially give it over to a vote by the community of which we will become a part in its entirety as a whole.
Overall, yeah, like Sasha said, since we're in the pre-ICO stage, we have a pretty flexible system and we can change a lot of things. But after the TGE, the contracts won't be changeable anymore. They'll be locked in and there will be a waiver of any amendments. So once they're finalized, you won't be able to change anything. They will already be locked in. They will have a refusal to be an omnipotent being. So once they're finalized, the items won't be changeable.
And here's a little correction. The platform release doesn't mean the TGE, right? Because, well, there are certain nuances there. That is, if we have some kind of financial danger. Naturally, we will audit all of this. And the release of the ecosystem, I think, well, exactly when we say that, I think it will be later than TGE.
The platform is just too big to launch items right away. I mean, the whole ecosystem to release items that aren't subject to changes. For example, if we didn't have this flexibility right now, we'd have a couple dozen damn buggy items floating around in the ecosystem. I think the inability to regulate and stop such things.
So let's simply take 3 hands in turn and then
Ask the last question to Norcito, then the guys. Yeah. And let's move on to the next guys. It is possible to receive free gas, but all transactions will also be taxed, as is currently the case in Songbird. After we finish testing and scale in Songbird, we'll need to pay extra for scaling. Unfortunately, we can't do it any other way, because bots and abusers will drain the ecosystems. So that's the only way to make the economy stable. Free gas is basically the chance to poke around as much as you want, as you can imagine. And accordingly, by poking around as much as you want, the abusers are primarily taking away the value, the finances from the ecosystem. And the funds that could be distributed among our users who actually play are going into the pockets of the abusers. That's why we're introducing the anti-abuse system and the karma system. Everything will be fine with scaling. Sasha, do you want to add anything about scaling?
well, basically no. About shaking up the market. First of all, there will be a Zargates. Secondly, as we said, the scale collection will be multi-chain. From this collection, you'll be able to transfer items to another blockchain to kick things off there. So in the classic, nice way we see it, if you want to start something in a new network, you go to scale, buy all the NFTs there, transfer them to the new network, and kick things off there because this is the only collection at the moment and for the foreseeable future, at least until the next quarter. That gives you a quantitative boost right from the start. There are no more such items. Therefore, this is the most ideal option to start over, somewhere. We're planning to keep adding endlessly everywhere with our events, and there will be financial events too, including for liquid tokens. Plus, we have a bunch of interesting collaborations lined up. We have chats with almost 30 blockchains right now, and we're in talks with all of them, more or less. Some are waiting for certain milestones from the project to bring them on board as partners. So here we're working very closely, extremely.
The only thing is that we won't be able to introduce the mechanics before the unit. Multi-chain NFT with the ability to withdraw from the scale. I lost track of what I wanted to add. I mentioned today that with all anti-bot features, Karma system, and anti-abuse measures active, we'll begin marketing. We have pool info, agreements, and supporting chains. Overall, we're prepared and will ramp up capabilities and agreements in December. Likely, in January post-holidays, we'll launch big and attract new users. We are ready. We already have pool info. We already have agreements. We have chains that support us. So overall, we've prepared for marketing, and throughout December, we'll keep ramping up our capabilities. And agreements. Most likely in January after the holidays, we'll launch big and start bringing in a ton of new users. A whole lot, a whole lot, a whole lot, a whole lot. Here, Rodrigo, go ahead.
Hello. Could you please tell me, is there a specific question about transferring NFTs? I have, for example, my wife in my referrals. They just said that there would be such a mechanic. In connection with the rise in the price of the dollar and everything, it is beneficial for me to somehow transfer these NFTs to my wife. Can you tell me when such a mechanic will be introduced?
Let's put it this way. Right now, we can't be sure that it's your wife, just like we can't be sure if it's a friend or someone else. And often what we see so far are people who want to transfer to themselves by creating 10 accounts. Now this system, at some point it will start working. It is already transparent. We have been testing it for 3 months already. We already see a lot, and we will show you a little later. Once we're sure that at least 95% of the multi-accounting is filtered out, we'll allow direct transfer of items. For now, we can offer you to sell and make this exchange through the marketplace. Accordingly, you will lose 10% of the cost, use a little less of it, a little higher than the cost of the items. I think that this will not be too critical for you if you really need to pass the item to Genya.
Use the bottom of the market to transfer items between your multi-accounts.
It raises a lot of questions. Does anyone else have a question? Oh yeah, I saw that Andre wanted to. Andre. Got it. We'll give the floor to someone else later.
Questions. One is a little larger in scale, the other one might be a little smaller. The first question is about those boxes that were there. So if the first ones were for 1 pixel and the second ones for 2 pixels, right now, as I understand it, it's still unknown if they'll even exist at all. But the question is, if they do, come back, is there a chance that in the future there will be options for boxes, like for 10 pixels, for 50, for 100, so that people who have, let's say, a relatively large amount could easily grab them? Is such a possibility being considered for the future or not?
Look, Andre, we're basically developing a store. As such, a store where you can purchase various items, upgrades, and transport structures. For pixels, it would take time, so to speak, to fill it up. And if we're talking about selling loot boxes as exclusives, well, that might seem unfair, and people will shout that you're doing everything just for the inflow, that only they can buy it, while we're trying to level the playing field for everyone. Sasha, do you want to add anything?
Yes, I will add that we are not trying to make everyone equal, because that would be unfair. There are people who spend more time, and there are those who spend less. There are people who have taken care of their skills, and then there are those who have just let them slide. So I can't really back this idea of leveling things out. And to keep it short about pixels.
It's like pixel waste points. They will definitely be created. And we have a lot of ideas about this just a little bit later. I guess I would agree. Yeah, they will be for everyone, not just for the whales.
Later on.
I guess I would agree. Yeah, they will be for everyone, not just for the whales.
Got it. And here's a cool question about the meme contest. When is the contest results? going to be announced, and if I understand correctly, there will be gifts in the form of these rings. That can be inserted now, which aren't available yet, or will there be other gifts?
Well, I guess I'll answer here. Yeah, I'll answer. I think we'll announce my results next week. Yeah, the main prizes will be rings of various rarities. And we promised 30 rings. But most likely, we'll give away more. Well, that's all the information for now. Well, I'd like to add a little something about the previous question regarding antitrust policy. So, for example, we have the pre-seed round. If anyone has noticed, we don't give more than 5% to one person from the pre-seed round, even though the pre-seed round is only 2%. This is also one of the tools to ensure that in the future, the maximum voting share of the DAO doesn't belong to just one person. Well, of course, it doesn't rule out the possibility of some cartel agreements or a big strong syndicate in the future, and so on.
Thanks, Mish. Okay, Northfit. All right.
You didn't say that we would be. No, let me do it right away. It was written. No, it was written in the contest rules that all the works are selected by the team. There wasn't a word about likes at all. Well, there's a chance we've thought about it, that we might even cancel the voting for the audience because of this.
It's a mix here. Our marketing is actually built in a way that threads will come from everywhere. Starting from what we did 2 weeks ago, we participated in the crypto conference, The Trends. It was focused on influencers, and we got to meet all the influencers from the CIS region, probably. Trends. We were focused on influencers, and we probably met all the influencers from the CIS region. Besides this, there were also foreign guests. We made contacts, we have chats, we communicate. We have a body program. You may have noticed in the menu where you create content, send a link, add a comment. We're checking, by the way, if anyone has sent anything. Honestly, I haven't looked yet. I just haven't had the time, but I'll sit down over the weekend and review all the content. A lot of people have already sent stuff. I'll sit down and check everything out. So, you can do a review with us, write a post, and reach out to the bounty system. We're launching an ambassador program that rewards influencers for active referrals on many points. We're definitely going to have paid advertising both for USDT and cash and for marketing allocations on TGA. Are we getting ready for the hikes? Can you hear me? Yes. Good evening. Could you please tell me, with all the constant new changes, it feels like the pile of questions from the previous AMO is just getting pushed into the back drawer, and instead, more questions are piling up.
Is there a way to clarify what Target will actually be useful for? What can you tell us about the new DApp platform and the collaboration with Units Network? How can this be useful for us? Why does the old stuff get forgotten?
Can you be more specific about the old stuff?
Well, the same rings and beasts that you prioritized, what are you going to do about the discount?
The discount will be applied right now. That is, the market contract needs to be completely reissued.
So they're fixing it right today, huh?
Zarget, accordingly. I think that we will launch it within 2 weeks at most. So basically, almost everything is ready there. How useful it will be, you decide for yourself. Roman, the founder of Zargates, gives AMMs and gives AMMs to TapTap. So, everyone needs to determine the usefulness of the specific product for themselves. What else was there?
We wanted the ability to sell NFTs in bulk. So, not just clicking on one at a time on the marketplace, but if there was a way to do several at once, or a price filter as well. There was such an opportunity.
Regarding all these improvements, guys, as I mentioned, our team is small and we handle non-critical bugs, not to mention improvements in batches during a specific sprint. So, we take a week and focus specifically on fixing bugs. Any updates on the ecosystem modules, like leaderboards, the marketplace, or anything else? Right now, the main focus has been to release the patch, because we've been working on it for a while. We can't get distracted by little things. I understand that this is an important topic. We recorded it, put it in the task list, and as soon as we get to some useful improvements, it's not just about marketing, you know. This thing will kind of be introduced. Think about it, it might seem like nonsense, but as you work through it, you can really think about implementing it correctly. Show an example through Misha, and we might benefit from that. If you've done something similar, it would be very helpful for our market, because if you, for example, show an example, you could pass it through Misha, for instance, where it's implemented in the best way, in your opinion, and is convenient, on which marketplace. Maybe it's a game or, I don't know, maybe it's some kind of non-gaming marketplace, then we might actually take advantage of that. So, if you've done something like that, it would be super helpful in terms of our market. So, if you had something like that available, it would be super convenient in terms of our market. Right. And if it's really cool, fun, and all that, we'll implement it just the way you suggest.
Let's also do this. Dimitri, if you have any questions, go ahead.
Yeah, right, unit networks, and Ed's question was about karma.
Yeah, I remember about karma, and I'm actually getting to that right now. It's a really important topic. Yeah, about DAR. We've been partners for a little while now. Yeah, about DAR. It's probably the oldest service that has a collection of decentralized applications. What does this give us? First of all, if you go in right now, you'll see that we're ranked pretty high globally, which brings us a flow of users. Yeah, DAR was originally based on an American platform, if I'm not mistaken. So valuable users come from there, high-quality users who have been in crypto for a long time. They help the marketplace buy up your items, engage with the platform, but it's happening a bit slower than we'd like. But anyway, based on the last boost we did, we're currently in 4th place in the boost section, which helped to buy up the marketplace, acquire your items, and show activity, but it goes a little slower than we would like. But anyway, based on the last boost we did, we're currently in 4th place in the boost section. By the way, if they have a boost reset cycle every 2 weeks, we can vote every 2 weeks. If we make it into the top 3 on DappRadar for boost, we get $25,000 in marketing from DappRadar aimed at the American audience. This is actually really cool. It's super valuable because the influencers they promote are just not reachable otherwise. So we can't just come in and say, guys, we're awesome. We're building a great ecosystem. Give us some advertising. They'll say no. So you can actually reach those influencers through DappRadar. So they work with them. That's why we're trying to get into the top 3 before the sale. Right now we're in the top 4. Overall, if we push a little harder, we have a good chance to wrap this up this month.
So it was put on there, and I will add tokens here too, as a gift. Plus, we're also putting in our own effort, of course. And plus, if anyone has been watching or keeping track, we're right up there with some pretty serious products like Star Atlas. We're currently alongside multi-million-dollar projects, including Punks and so on.
We're currently alongside multi-million-dollar projects,
and Punks, and so on. Well, I mean, specifically in the rankings. People are noticing us. They're keeping an eye on us. Yeah, the sale, of course. It's not like everyone just jumped in one day and said, oh, top product, let's go for it. This is a certain amount of work we've done. We negotiated with them for a long time, made agreements, and they also gave us a free boost because they liked us. They believed in us. That's also a certain amount of work.
So, getting into the quest before the sale costs $3,000. The guys just believed in us and added us for free. Unit is a blockchain. The founder, Alexander Ivanov, who was the former founder of the Wave blockchain, was once considered the Ethereum killer or the Russian Ethereum. If I'm not mistaken, they had a hack about 3 years ago, or something like that, where they lost $500 million. Yeah, $500 million was stolen from them.
It was 900 million.
They had $900 million stolen from their blockchain. The blockchain is dead. The founder didn't give up. All this time, he was working on his own chain. He just finished it recently. It's called Unit Network. We partnered with them. And in January of next year, we're going to add another network with a unique mining cycle that's a bit different from the current one, where you'll be able to mine unit tokens, which are already trading on the market. After the mining event wraps up, we'll just have an additional network in our wallet, like a utility layer, where you can store tokens, transfer them, and use them on their DX by connecting to their DX and their bridges. So, you can decide for yourself what you want to do. Store the tokens, use them in the system, or just go sell them. Again, without leaving our wallet.
And Zargites. From Unit's side, since Sasha is the CEO, he's not just a businessman. He's also quite an idealistic person, and he really liked our concept. It's a chain application for gamified crypto token mining. And actually, if he likes everything, in the sense of how we work, our community, actually, the event itself, he said that he will take part in this as a user, as a player, then perhaps this will be some kind of long-term cooperation and some kind of development in their network. So right now, we're focused on onboarding blockchains. Because the more blockchains we onboard, the more grants we get for development, the more weight and trust we'll have when we go to raise funds for scaling the ecosystem.
I'll give it to Lichtenmeyer. I'll give it to Yevgeny, by the way. No, let's talk about karma later. Oh no, let's save the karma for last, like the very end. I'll share some stories, we'll chat, and you can ask questions while we walk around, because Yevgeny is here. Hey, Jinya, I didn't recognize you right away. By the way, Yevgeny is one of our influencers, ambassadors, helping us with our future marketing. What's your question?
Can you hear me? Hey. Listen, I'm listening right now, and a number of questions have come up, so I want to combine them together. First of all, there's this nuance that's come up several times. The word storage and the need to enhance it, that's the first point. And the second point is onboarding new users, the influx of which we're all expecting in the near future, right? That's the goal we have. So the point is simple. It's hard to level up storage, really hard. And that's why many miss out. They don't miss out. Well, unconsciously, or whatever you call it. It's just hard, you know? They don't level it up because it's expensive. And psychologically, for example, it's difficult for a newcomer to immediately get into the long-term mindset, to immediately believe in the ecosystem. And then to see a zero. So he was grinding away, you know, leveling up for like a week or two, and then bam, he finally levels up his storage, and it's still zero. And I think that kind of pushes people away a bit, in my opinion. And so, in connection with this, like right now, these new daily boxes, right? So I caught a couple of boxes and the minimum reward is like 0.01 pixels. Now, to level up, let's say, not me, but to level up the second storage level, how many pixels is that? It's like 9 pixels. So to level up, let's say, the second level of storage, how many pixels is that? 9 pixels. That is, I need to catch these 0.01 for 3 months. Exaggerating to show numbers. Raise rewards to E seeing 0. Reset, but bounce back quick. Well, what I mean is that maybe the reward should be increased somehow, so that it would be easier for the people, so that it wouldn't be psychologically hard to see it reset again. Well, let's say it reset, but you know it'll bounce back quickly. Otherwise, you reset, and then, bam, your next goal is like, you think, man, I'm gonna be sitting here for years just staring at zeros again. So that's pretty much my take on it. How do you feel about that?
Let me answer that. So, regarding beginners and how tough it is, we're creating a special accelerated leveling system for newbies. It's just right for the event with marketing, so that new users can jump right into the ecosystem. And the path to level 10 of the drill will be greatly simplified. Accordingly, well, here, I think, there is no particular point in commenting. That is, all projects are, let's say, long-term at some point. During development, they make events for newcomers. There are all sorts of boosts, bonuses, and so on. So, we're planning that. We've already outlined it, and we're going to add it to our marketing. That's the first thing. About the fact that you leveled up and ended up with 0. Well, damn, I can suggest farming a bit more so you don't end up with 0. Because, like, what other way is there? Like, I don't get it. Accordingly, in response to 001 pixels, the chest contains a range from 001 to 1 pixel and SGB. If we give good rewards in the daily chest, we will devalue the ecosystem. The balance that we introduce is aimed at giving the user the opportunity. So, if there wasn't an epic item in the chest that you could sell for a few bucks, or a legendary item, then we could say the rewards are bad. But if a casino always hit 3 sevens, that wouldn't be a casino anymore. It would just be slot machines, without any thrill. That's where the excitement comes in, so that's how it is. To be continued. There's this free chest, which honestly could have not existed at all, right? But here we have a free chest, where a user who hasn't invested any money can pull out some liquid product and actually get paid for it. And with that money, they can buy some clothes. That's it. And with that money, they can buy some clothes. Right, so it's about mining more. So it's an opportunity.
Alex, you know what I'll add about the chest. Guys, try saving up your chests and then opening them. I saved up 76 chests. I posted a video on YouTube. 7th rank level. I saved up 6 chests. I got it 3 times in a row. The first 3 were SGB, Pixel SGB. Autoclaimer dropped 2 inacti. Saved them instead of opening. And I got 2 inacti back to back. Try saving them up instead of opening them right away. That's exactly why we did it.
There's always going to be an objection about the fact that it's never the case that everyone is satisfied. It's never been like that, and it never will be, because people think differently. For some people, this chest doesn't hold any value at all. He's just playing for fun. He doesn't even want to bother with that chest. I already have everything I need. Some people get really into it, while others are just chasing achievements. I knocked out 1 SGB there and was like, oh cool, I have enough gas there for half a month. Someone knocked out a pixel. Oh, I was just missing 1 pixel. He was lucky there. A pixel fell out, kind of happy. And someone knocked out Liga and said, yes, your system is shit and all of it is shit and your Legas are cheap, like in general. So people really are different. That's why this is kind of a subjective thing.
Let's keep going, keep going.
I gave it to Sparak, Rocco. Hand.
Damn, hello. Damn. Hello?
I'm afraid we won't be able to chat with Farouk today. Farouk, do you speak English?
I'm from Bangladesh.
Oh, nice to meet you. You can ask one question. Today we have a Russian number, sorry, but you can ask if you want. Okay, Mish, get rid of Farouk. Andre, as expected.
Yeah, I have a quick question that just came up while we were talking about networks. So, about the Flower network, I want to clarify what happened with it and what's going on. There was this interesting 3D NFT that used to spin around, so what's the fate of that network? And also, I'm really curious about the Tone network. It showed up there for a bit and then just disappeared. So, what about these two networks? And what about the more interesting one, the Tone network?
Tone has been put on hold. Unfortunately, the transaction costs on the Tone network don't allow us to launch a miner there, so you could run off and regularly claim because it's about 20 to 40 cents per claim, and I think you understand that's pretty pricey. Seems we haven't found a way to add gamification there at the moment, but we have a partner, Emmett Finance. Those guys have been working on bridge development for many, many years. They've just finished and passed, if I'm not mistaken, some kind of audit. I can't say exactly what it is right now. In terms of time, we will integrate their bridge, we will add a network of tons, and it will initially be just a wallet. That is, you will be able to have your tons, notes, doxes, whatever else we have there. Store, transfer, possibly stake, respectively drive them into EWM networks and possibly somehow inside EWM networks. By EWM networks, I mean Ethereum Virtual Machine, that is Flare, Scale, Polygon, St. Bert, these are all EWM networks. So at some point, we'll find utility there. But as Sasha mentioned earlier, we have a small team and it wouldn't make sense to allocate our main development resources to something that doesn't bring value to the ecosystem. So we hid it. Plus, we had a grant plan there. But it's been postponed. Again, so we don't spread our resources too thin. So we're moving towards EWM. So that's the direction we've decided to work in for now. So we gave up on that grant.
No, it's not that we completely gave up on it. That grant got stuck because the Tone Foundation is made up of pretty spoiled guys. They in the ecosystem, there are projects like Hamsters, Notecoins, and so on, some of which have gathered tens of millions of users. And we're not really that interesting to them. The product niche is quite sufficient. We offered them bridge integration. They say, we have an order, the bridges are coming in 52 bridges. They didn't really see the value at that time. It's like the grant, It was just put on hold like negotiations over the grant. That is, we presented ourselves as an infrastructure product, not as a game or a gaming wallet. We have ideas for Ton, a developer for Ton, but Ton will be open eventually as a DeFi wallet service. A bridge integrated to transfer funds from Stone to EVM, likely Stonify's DeFi protocol for users ready to stake, provide liquidity, etc. via our wallet interface on StoneFi. That is, a bridge will be integrated there for people who need it to transfer funds from Stone to EVM accordingly, yes. And the DeFi protocol will be integrated, most likely Stonify's, yes. That is, for those users who are ready, well, through our wallet interface, yes, they're on StoneFi conditionally, they're to stake, provide liquidity there, and so on. So it's purely an integration network just for expanding the wallet service, and that's it. For now, that's how it is. Then we'll see. Right now, all the taplings are going to die off, we'll see. What's next?
And what else did Bree ask besides? A flare. Flare. This means that we already have a bridge contract ready between Songbird and Flare, since it is one ecosystem. But unfortunately, At the moment, Flare itself doesn't have a validator that will support. One side of the bridge, we're waiting for a technical solution from them or for permission to become a validator ourselves to get this going. Dog, Phenoboris founder, he still breaks the project. He works in this direction. His dog seems to be there. I looked at these charts. It started to grow along with the market. He's doing what he says, creating a top meme on Flare, and at the same time, if I'm not mistaken, he's working with the Flare team on developing a memopad, a platform where any user can come and launch a meme in just 2 clicks, kind of like Bloom. Bloom is doing it.
Well, the classic stuff, the pump and dump like Tron and all that jazz, that whole trendy story of the current cycle. That's what they're doing, but this will probably be one of the first memes on Flare.
Are you seeing Flare right now as a Polygon network, like a technical wallet network?
Flare is kind of looking ahead, when they start to get their act together a bit. You can see that the guys are preparing, and I don't know who's keeping an eye on the market and the charts, but if you see that there's been a 70% buyout on one candle, then there's money in the network, and everything's all right.
Yeah. So MD Azazel, he's not Russian speaking either. Yeah, MD Azazel, hey there, do you speak Russian? All right, let's give the floor to Yevgeny and then to Norsid. Yevgeny. Yevgeny Sunshine Diamond's little paws. The microphone is blinking, but the microphone itself isn't disconnected. So I see no one around.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Pixel is currently in 3rd place on DappRadar.
Cool. Guys, let's step it up. This will really give us a good boost. Fortunately, we don't have to use marketing right away. We can take advantage of it when we need it.
So we need to wrap it up, right? Need to finish it in a week.
Yeah, there are still 8 or 10 days left. Take a look.
Until December 11th.
So we need to get into the top 3 by December 11th, ideally in 1st place. I boosted it by 35,000 from our side.
Let's see, if the gap is small, then we need to bring in some influencers. Gap 4,004. So the gap is 4,004, right? 40,004.
Thousands. Well, a little bit. Well, I think we have a chance this time because last month we would have made it. Oh, what were the projects in 1st place? He was there with a lead of hundreds of thousands.
Right now, it's MoMA.
Momo, too. I think Momo took 2nd place in the last Adonis cycle. Someone up there is in 1st place. Some well-known project just flew ahead with a huge lead. Well, I think we can make it happen. By the way, we need to ask Sasha to relaunch the quest with DappRadar, so it shows up in the quests again. Those who created the new cycle went ahead, so it can be completed again. And I'll also make a whole memo. Yevgeny, do you have any more questions? Yes, I just wanted to. Finally, you found us. Don't think I was avoiding you. Look, we're preparing first and foremost, meaning we have the tokenomics in place. We see all the numbers, and we're even raising the load on the order book. for each token at the moment of the TG. So we understand how many tokens will be with users and how many will be with investors. And we're getting ready to buy back all those tokens that will be sold. We enter TG with a price of 2.5 cents, and our goal is not to let it go lower. Further, of course, everything will greatly depend on our warm-up and on the community and on the faith of users. But by that time, we'll have completed at least one more phase of the economic cycle, which will create demand for our token. That is, we cannot guarantee access or any numbers to anyone. The only thing we can guarantee is demand. We'll create that. We're going to have a lot of points in the ecosystem. That will require the Pixel token. And most importantly, don't forget that the Pixel token is a reward token. You might have noticed that a section for the ecosystem pool has appeared on the dashboard, which is now divided into 4 points. These are paid fees. That's the fee from the marketplace. What's up, Sash, the karma system? And what's the 4th point? I don't remember. So, right now, there are 4 sections that collect fees from the ecosystem. There will be more of them later. Next, DeFi will get involved, and then bridges will come in. All these fees collected in the ecosystem pool will be distributed among the holders of the Pixel token. So, by holding the Pixel token, you earn fees from the ecosystem. Right now, if you notice, we have about $210,000 on the main marketplace in SunGird over 2 months, and in Stale, it's around 15. Well, let's round it off, yeah. So, we had a trading volume of $250,000, from which 10% of the fees are collected in the ecosystem pool. So, considering that there aren't that many users right now, those same $20,000 to $25,000 would be distributed among the users. This is just to give you an idea.
To be fair, we should mention that not 100% of the ecosystem's income is distributed among the users, but rather 35%.
So, you need to understand that the Pixel token is a reward token. The more users we have in the ecosystem, the more transactions happen, the more fees are collected in the reward pool, and the bigger the rewards will be for the holders of the Pixel token.
Yeah, and by the way, we want to launch this soon, as a trial. Into that painful 5th column that everyone was complaining about. Leaderboard. Yeah, the 5th column of the leaderboard. Now it's going to start working the way we originally wanted it to. So, when we were planning how this should work, because paid transactions were originally planned to have a portion of the rewards, specifically a part of the pool, distributed to the 5th column that comes from those paid transactions. And a certain number of people will share this pool. And that's when the real game begins. Transactions start to bite at some point. Up to 50, they don't really bite. For users who have 100 SGB in their account, they don't really bite. But after 50 transactions in a day, they really start to bite. And that's when you really need to think. How much are you willing to spend to outpace someone on the leaderboard and get a distribution that's more than what you invested? I mean, besides Pixel, that is, from SGB specifically here. So let's see, we'll test how this will go. We're really curious to see if this will work or not. Maybe this is like our hypothesis that won't hold up, but the idea is this. Now we're going to sort out the patch, tidy everything up, and then we'll basically start the first systematic distribution based on the mechanics. Yeah, it takes time. Right now, we're going to sort out the patch, tidy everything up, and then we'll basically start the first systematic distribution based on the mechanics.
Yeah, it takes time.
Regarding the token, I'll also say that whenever people ask what we predict, it's kind of a tricky question. We don't really make predictions. Instead, we take specific steps that will maximize the value of our token. In this sense, the tokenomics can answer a lot of questions. We're not launching with a market cap of 100 million. We're launching with a market cap of 15 million. That's a really low market cap. This market cap will be very attractive to investors at a certain stage of the project. Because, in fact, the lower the market cap, the more potential for big gains. And if the ecosystem is solid, and people trust it, and it has guys on board like the former waves or Skill, that's a really respected blockchain. Even though it might not be in the top 100, it's a very respected blockchain that's been around for 7 years already. And those who have Skill on board are generally held in high regard. So we're in it for the long haul here. We approached it from the other side. We didn't have any helicopter money to begin with, but that's a question about the listing. If we had at least 50 million bucks, we wouldn't have any problem giving money to users. No problem at all. We would have listed on the second day. We would have bought back the token and moved on. But it's unlikely anyone would come to us when your entire token is bought out.
Well, basically, when our market cap is at least on par with those docs, I think the token will be worth around 10 to 12 cents. Once we grow to that point, we'll be worth 20 cents. But their market caps aren't that big. The potential is huge. At a yard, the token will be worth $1. I'm speaking very roughly right now, but if you want to read into it, just imagine this. Yeah, we shouldn't forget that we have a strong deflationary model that constantly burns tokens, taking them out of circulation. So if we initially have a maximum total supply of 692 million tokens, in about 3 to 4 years, that will drop to 200 million. So even with a market cap of $100 million, the token will be worth.
Total market cap. We also need to remember about the locks, that not all the tokens hit the market right away.
Of course, yeah, certainly.
I apologize, I have to step away.
Thanks everyone for coming. See you soon. But let's talk a bit more about the karma system, and I need to take a break because it's 1 in the morning for me.
Yeah, it's this one.
So, check it out. We already have a profile that you can copy, plug in someone else's wallet address, and see how many NFTs and items they have. You can do this, for example, by opening Explorer. In the blockchain, you can check out the top holders, copy their wallet address, and plug it into the link in the profile. A little later, it will be more public, more accessible. It will be a rating. It will be clickable profiles. It will be a digital soul. It will be a rating. All of this will be viewable. In general, it's already transparent. You just need to know where to click. I think if anything comes up, you can reach out to Misha. Misha will help, right? You'll help me out if I need it, right? Yeah, we're planning to. We have a partnership with Edify. We have a partnership with GameStarter. These are Launchpads. We'll approach them before the listing. Agreements and allocations will be transferred, giving you a chance. Conditions vary. First come, first served, or whitelist. Register on the whitelist, complete tasks, follow social media, and get $100, $200, or $300. Their conditions are different. For some, it's whoever clicks the button first. And for others, it's based on a whitelist. So, you register yourself on the whitelist, complete a bunch of tasks, follow their social media, and you can get an allocation of $100, $200, or even $300. Plus, we are in dialogue with Tier 1 exchanges and sections. They all offer Launchpads as well. On their side, that is, to allocate $50,000 to $100,000 for users of those exchanges to purchase before the listing starts. All of this will happen about a month before the listing when we announce the exact date. We're going to approach the Launchpads. We're going to approach the exchanges. We'll allocate them $50,000, $100,000, and $150,000. You'll choose a platform that works for you and buy in for a small amount. Often, exchanges allow you to buy in for as little as $10. Platforms like GameStarter or Setify start at $100 or even $15. So all the information will be published, and you'll be able to choose a platform that works for you and come in to buy a small amount. I want to add something about when we were talking about the token, the price is 2.5 cents. Keep in mind that let's put it this way. Look, Hello Pixel is a fully on-chain gamified hub for integrating retail into crypto mass adoption. Our main product is the Pixel Wallet, a wallet and Telegram mini apps with all the DeFi tools, with all the DeFi instruments. And the second thing, our killer feature, is Pixel Miner. This is an economic strategy or a tool for gamified distribution, giving away or distributing tokens in partner projects. So, we're integrating projects like JBuddy, JazarGates, Unit Networks, and then Tyco. This will happen on a regular basis. So, besides having the Pixel token, you'll also be mining tokens from other projects. And the amount of tokens mined from other projects will depend on how upgraded your miner is. So keep that in mind. So, the same old Swisstronic that everyone's been talking about, but we're in touch with the guys, and in fact, our users have mined $110,000 worth of Swisstronic tokens. On TG, users will be able to get their tokens. So nothing is lost, nothing is forgotten. We're waiting for the green light from them. And everyone who attracted Swisstronic will get their tokens. So remember that besides the Pixel, our killer feature is one of the main reasons why we partner with others and why blockchains give us grants. The ability to mine tokens from other projects. And the further we go, the more projects we launch during this time, the more partnerships we'll have. The more trustworthy the Pixel becomes, the more valuable projects will come to us and distribute their tokens through us. So in a way, we're also a launchpad. It's clear what I mean, right? So in a way, we're also a launchpad. Is it clear what I mean here?
People are tired of jumping between networks. However, connecting more blockchains increases our token's value. So, to earn, every new blockchain added should be seen positively. It is necessary to pay attention here that the more blockchains we connect, the more value our token will have. So, on the contrary, if you want to earn, then every new blockchain we connect to the ecosystem should be welcomed, if not with open arms, then at least positively. Right. So maybe we can slowly transition to talking about karma and wrap things up.
Yeah, let's do it. Overall, the karma system is a tool to fight against multi-accounting. I'm sure that almost every one of you has 2 to 3 or even 10 accounts. The karma system will work like this. At the beginning, everyone has a base value that gives you 100% of the rewards. You earn 100% from the market. You get 100% when you sell your item on the marketplace, and you earn 100% of the partner tokens. But as soon as you fall under the karma system, it depends on how many of your multi-accounts you have. Let's say I'm speaking figuratively here, so don't get too hung up on that number. For example, if you have one account, you get 100% rewards. Let me put it this way. Don't get too attached to that number. For example, if you have one account, you get 100% rewards. With 2 accounts, you get 90% of the rewards. With 5 accounts, you get 50% of the rewards from the entire ecosystem. With 10 accounts, you get 10% of the rewards from the entire ecosystem. The more parallel accounts you create, the less your reward will be in the ecosystem. From mining, from selling items. So your transaction cost ratio will change. It will either decrease or increase. Basically, your transactions will be more expensive. You'll get a smaller discount from the claimer. So instead of giving away 10%, let's say, and again, don't get too attached to the numbers, you'll be giving away 50% when you sell an item. Sold it for 100 SGB, but got 50. And all the funds that the karma system takes will go into the ecosystem pool, the karma pool, and will be distributed among users, among the holders of the Pixel token. That's if it's in red. Who's going to ask questions? There we have Emla Bakier.
I'm really very much surprised by something indeed.
The karma system is an important step. It's being worked on globally. A lot has already been done. There are a lot of tools right now that analyze user behavior, including instrumental tools. In conjunction with paid transbots. Today someone asked why you're making autoclaim bots instead of building a bridge from scale. Because over the last few months, we've had a lot of arbitrageurs come in. They set up a huge number of farms and started taking money from our users when that money could have stayed in the ecosystem. For example, 2 honest users bought NFTs from each other, and they kept those funds. Then they invest them back into the ecosystem or monetize them for themselves. Arbitrageurs just withdraw these funds and sell them on the exchange. At one point, we identified 1,300 bots in one day, plus another 1,300 bots. That's a big amount of money when you think about it. And if we just kept this going, you have to understand that these bots aren't just claiming Pixel. These bots are pulling items from NFTs and dumping our market. So they come in and sell, causing harm and damage to the ecosystem. So our main goal was to stop the abuse of the system. But we couldn't just stop it by turning on paid transactions. Because when ordinary users experienced, well, if not anger, then clearly frustration. So in order for this to all go smoothly, we needed time and the introduction of tools. For example, like autoclaim bots, which for ordinary users will not allow them to feel the dividends very much. So if you have 1 account, or even 2, it won't really affect you that much. And since a decision was made, we won't be blocking penalties. That's how the karma system came about. But those who fall under the karma system, you'll later see a badge next to their name. There will be 3 types of badges: gray, yellow, and red. The one that's red is for the really bad offenders. Ardor, go ahead and ask your question.
Will there be a cherry on top in the form of code?
Small.
A cherry on top in the form of code.
Codes. Is this like a free drop of something?
Yeah. Today's codes. In our project, there are no codes. Yeah.
Actually, this is a completely spontaneous AMA. It just hit me that there are a lot of questions and not enough answers. But we need to answer the users.
Well, actually, it's not entirely spontaneous. Amin has passed.
Mish, I can't hear you, just so you know. Or is it just my connection dropping?
No, it's my connection dropping. I mean, we agreed during our last meeting to meet a few more times before the new year. So, it's just a little meeting today. And there's a chance we might get together before the new year. And by then, there will be more topics to talk about. I think it's better for us to wrap it up. It's better to meet more often later, even if it's for a short time, than to meet rarely for a long time.
No, yeah, you're definitely right. I think once we finish this big patch, the current one, and get everything implemented, especially when the karma system kicks in, which should be pretty soon, we'll hold another AMA to answer questions and hear what users think. We're pretty flexible in the community, open-minded. And if the proposals don't harm the ecosystem, we're ready to consider and implement them. All right, Noor said, let's go over it one more time. Actually, we've had P2P ready for a while, and we were planning to roll it out, but Telegram banned any P2P except for their own wallet. They just block many apps and channels that promote P2P in any way. And if they haven't blocked someone, it just means no one has complained about that project yet. Believe me, if you go and file a complaint against this project now, this project will simply disappear. So, you won't find P2P anywhere in the TMA right now. At some point, we'll detach a bit from Telegram and everything will be tied to your Web3 address, your decentralized address, and you'll be able to manage it through the website, not just through Telegram mini apps. But right now, Telegram is, let's say, part of our KYC process, part of how we verify users. Because if our mining wasn't on Telegram, but just on the web, we would have started getting abused a lot earlier. And we would have perished much earlier, not even reaching the fight system. Right now, we can clearly see it, and we have a solid plan on how to overcome it. This is actually already being implemented, and soon the prices in the marketplace will start to rise again. The deflation will stop, and unnecessary hands will be weeded out. But again, very smoothly. We're not going to ban anyone. The karma system is currently in testing, and it's performing really well. Soon, everyone will get to know it. Definitely, definitely, definitely. And not just one. And not just one. Well, we have contact with Certic too. Oh, it just slipped my mind. We got some big players in hashing over there. In general, we definitely will, but right now it doesn't make sense since the functionality is still being refined. We still have one more major migration ahead of us. As if anyone with us remembers, for a long time, we already had 3 migrations before this. At some point ahead, there will be one major migration, and in this migration, some contracts will stop being editable, meaning they'll become static, and there will be a relinquishment of ownership. This will definitely happen right after the audit. So, we won't fully enter the market when a token is tradable without an audit. MD Azure. He's not Russian. Right. You know.
No, but I wanted to remind you that we even have a separate pool for auditors in our tokenomics, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Ole.
No, we don't have a pool, and most likely it will just be for a lot of money. Right now, we need to audit our entire ecosystem, which consists of 30 contracts. It's not even tens of thousands of dollars. That's a lot more. Imagine one contract costs about $2,500 to $3,000 to audit on average. We have 30 of them just to audit it for the sake of it. Got it, finalized, tested internally, checked. And once we're all on the same page within the team, we'll know that, yes, everything's cool, let's go, then we'll head for the audit. What's the overall picture? Overall, we covered everything. I hope everyone found it useful. I really hope we answered all the questions. If anyone has a question left, go ahead and ask the very last one. And for today, we're going to take a break. Alexander, hello.
Good evening. When you plan to fix the tank with daily boxes, you can't open the box if all the quests are completed.
I hope so. Look, we need to wait for next week, wait for the news. Most likely, we need a bit more statistics on the boxes. Let's take a look right now. By next week, maybe by the middle of next week. But most likely, the box will be opened after the quest is completed. We're going to release about 7 to 10 quests every week, so there's enough for each day. And you'll just be adjusting and stretching them. We completed the quest and opened the box. The next day we completed the quest and opened the box. For now, this isn't final. We're waiting until next week. We're looking at the statistics, checking the analytics, and making a decision.
So, if I have a box that isn't opened, I can take. If the quest is completed, then Actually, it's the other way around. If there's a quest, then I can take the box. If it's not there, then I won't take it. Right.
So yeah, you need to complete the quest on the day the box opens. Again, I'll say it, this is not the final decision. We need to wait for all the analytical data to be collected next week. If we decide that to open a box you need to complete the quest on the same day, we'll release a post and only then implement it. Right now, I don't know, Mish, correct me, I ended up yesterday. Right now, if I'm correct. Just based on my last dialogue, if you completed all the quests, you should be able to open the box without having to do anything else. So all the quests are completed, you check the news, you make a claim, and you open the box. So the latest data was like this.
But right now, some users are having a problem where the box doesn't open even after they've fully completed the task. So, not everyone. Not everyone.
For most people, it opens if all the quests are completed. Some people just have a bug. Alexander, how long have you been with us? Trying to figure out if this is happening with old or new users.
I only had this problem today. Before that, there were no issues. I've actually been here for a long time, since the beginning, since spring.
So you mean that before this, you had completed all the quests and you could open the box?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, there was something like that the other day where the quest seemed completed, but the box still wouldn't open.
Yeah, that's how it was supposed to be. We just noticed that some people who set up their beta farms quickly completed the quests and just started opening them. To be continued. Some people who set up their beta farms quickly completed the quests and just started opening them. But we'll fix all of this soon.
So even if there are no quests, the boxes will still open or fill.
No, it should be that if all the quests are completed, the box opens for you. Next, in a little while, you'll be able to stack quests. Finish quest for 7 uses, open daily. Future updates may need a reset. That is, you can open the box 7 times 7 days in a row. But in the next iterations, we will most likely make it so that you need a day to get up, and so you stretch them out over 7 days. Today we made a stamp, watched the news, completed the quest, opened it, and took the box. By the way, I recommend trying to save up the boxes instead of opening them right away. We'll give the floor to Jim Moriarty. Hello. We really created a lot of content. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Hey,
Yeah,
by the way, I have the same problem where my tasks are completed, influencers, partners, and the daily box just won't open. I only have the main OKH left, but I can't complete them, so they don't open.
Well, the main quests don't affect the opening of the mystery boss. It's just a bug.
And the events, partners, influencers are all done, and I've been without a box for 3 days now.
Well, there's a chance we'll redo the reward system even before we fix the bug, because it seems like they haven't found the bug quickly. If we're going to change the reward system next week, we'll probably have to wait until then.
Got it, thanks. And about karma, you mentioned that some people have 2 accounts, 3 accounts, or even 10 accounts. How can you tell if a person has a family, like 2 to 3 people, and they're all playing? If you have a family and there are actually different users using the accounts, you won't get caught up in the karma system.
I won't reveal all the secrets. Why do I need to explain the system and how we monitor it? But for now, we're managing to do it. My wife is lying right next to me too. She's an active Pixel user. Collecting, crafting, leveling up, buying. We're not Smurfs. So if you really have a family and your spouse or child is playing, there's a very good chance you won't be considered Smurfs. But if you play differently, then you can be sure you'll be under the karma system. And over time, for those users whose karma has decreased, is it possible to restore it somehow? Karma will be restored over time. It will be cleaned up for activity in the project, for good behavior, and there will be a few more mechanics that will allow you to wash away karma. So, if your karma has dropped, it's not the end of the world. Someone said today, just like in Ultima Online. It's kind of like in Ultima Online. Karma can be restored just as easily as it can be lost. Thank you. This is our top question today. You disappeared. You disappeared. We can't hear you. All right, guys, let's watch until just 7 more minutes, the very last ones. It's already going to be 1 a.m. for me, and that's it. Not just that, but one of them, yeah. So, the USA. Well, it's not malicious. 2 is neither malicious nor critical. And there, I repeat, there are a lot of factors that will influence all of this. A lot, really. Right now, I'm watching personally. Right now, I'm watching personally. I'm looking at what criteria. That's the virality of your content. How far she went. I don't know, for example, if it's YouTube, the number of views, the number of comments. But the most important thing is the activity of your users. So the most important thing will be based on how active your users are, how they claim it. No, no, no. So, quality content. From that quality, referrals came to you, and then we look at how often and how actively these users play. Are they opening slots? Are they making regular claims? Are they leveling up? So, users who just came in and clicked claim once are not active players. So, a player becomes active when they make their claim at least 5 times within a week. That already counts as activity. So, the more active, engaged, and immersed your users are, the ones who came to you, to us, to you, and to us, yeah, the ones who came to us, that's where the rewards will come from. Let's say you posted a video on YouTube and it got 1 million views. You had 1,000 people come to you, 1,000. Imagine you posted a YouTube video that got 1 million views. 1,000 active people mining and exploring the ecosystem. Maximum rewards will follow. Active ones, so you have 1,000 active people who started mining, started leveling up, began to develop, and got interested in the ecosystem. At this point, without a doubt, that's where the maximum reward will come from. Yeah, I mean, what's important to us isn't the numbers. So, look, we haven't really been running any ads since the summer. We haven't been doing anything. You might have noticed that MAU is dropping, while DAO has remained pretty much the same. So, the fact that DAO has dipped a bit is actually related to us starting to cut out the bots. We're starting to cut them out based on karma. That is, some users are already hanging with the karma mark. It's just not visible to you. But indeed, some users already have a violation, and perhaps that is why they quit, because they won't run to the chat. Because they no longer have a reward, they no longer obtain anything. Most likely the fall is connected with this, because bots are being cut off now. Farms are being cut off. Our goal is active users and a healthy ecosystem. We want users and real players who believe in us and are with us to earn here, not those who come in, set up 1,000 accounts, click on autopilot, and then dump NFTs on the market to our own users, often the new ones. Because there's still an influx of new users, it's just not as strong as it was in the summer, for example. Right now, we're getting about 50 to 60 people a day. Users. In the summer, we used to get tens of thousands of people coming in each day. In the last month and a half or two, we've had a lot of bots come in. As soon as we fully implement it, and as soon as we understand that the abuse of the ecosystem has stopped, we'll start ramping up the marketing. Overall, we're already ready. We're continuing to get ready for this.
Pawn, hello. Oh, my dear Alexander, is that really you?
I just wanted to say thank you. Thanks, guys, for taking the time, for us, even though it wasn't exactly a short time. We broke it down, piece by piece, detail by detail. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you so much, Alexander, for the kind words of support. Well, let's give it a minute. I'm not sure what to say. It's hard to say, for us. No, no, no. It's not. Tens of thousands. The most we saw was 1,300 accounts. About one person, I guess. Well, it was probably a group of people, not just one person. Well, like, there were 1,300, but they're gone now. Well, it is what it is, but you could say that it's not. They no longer have an impact on the ecosystem. Yeah, we'll wrap it up when this whole patch is done. We've already implemented 2/3 of it, and just yesterday's update got us 2/3 of the way there. We're finalizing the Karma and Gate systems, NFTs on the marketplace, the bridge, and other fixes in the patch. In 2 to 3 weeks, we'll update again. Let's make it a monthly tradition to answer questions and share updates. We'll create onboarding tools, tidy documentation, and work on our gitbook. All those fixes are included in the patch too, and we're currently wrapping everything up. I think in about 2 to 3 weeks, we'll do another update. And I think we can make it a tradition to check in like this once a month, calmly answering questions and sharing updates, at least after major updates for sure. Because it's a big deal, and it's only going to get bigger. But we will definitely create onboarding tools, tidy up all the documentation, and we've already started working on our gitbook. Today we shared a link on how paid transactions work. That is, we will describe all the mechanics and provide localization. But, again, it's going to be gradual. The team is small, well, 22 people right now, but for our ecosystem, that's still considered small. That is, at some point 50 people here will not be enough. But unfortunately, we're not quite ready for that resource-wise yet. So, little by little, step by step, just know that we're working hard day in and day out. Many of us have been working without days off since January. Literally without days off. So, 7 days a week, literally. The word is out. We love what we do, and we do it with passion.
We believe in you, guys. That's the most important thing.
Thank you so much. That's really the most important thing. So, this support, these warm words, are really important. But even without that, we wouldn't have given up. Because the project wasn't just created out of nowhere. This whole idea has been in the works since 2021. So, the attempt we made didn't succeed. We didn't have enough resources, or knowledge, probably. Well, from that moment on. Yeah, most of the team has been together since those days. We leveled ourselves up, so to speak. We learned, understood, planned it out, got ready, and jumped right in. We've also been lucky here. The market has been favorable to us lately. Let's keep going. Everything will be all right. We're destined for success. Thanks, everyone. I'm gonna go rest now. Good evening, night, morning to everyone, depending on what time it is for you. Mish, thank you so much for the greeting. That's it for now. See you later, everyone.